Hello everyone, off and on snow today, tumbling temperatures, and increasing wind. Lots to talk about, so let's get started 8 a.m. this morning. Scattered snow showers in the central and eastern part of the state, really just some spotty flurries in the western part of the state. And we're going to see more snow to the east today and less snow to the west. But for most of us, I do think the story is off and on snow shower activity, especially in the central and eastern part of the state. And we're going to do a comparison of the eastern part of the state to the western part of the state. So right along the lake, 8 a.m. this morning, winds only around 5 miles per hour, but breezy in the western part of the state. La Crosse, Chippewa Falls, gusts around 20 miles per hour. All right, so let's take a look at 11 a.m. We're just going to go in 3-hour increments and notice how we are still dealing with mostly light to moderate snow. I'm not going to rule out still some pockets of heavy snow, but most of the snow that we're going to be seeing today is going to be light to moderate. But I do think that for quite a bit of the day, there'll be a little bit of light to moderate snow coming down. Again, some occasional gaps. You can see the breaks showing up, but still a good chance of snow during the late morning. And notice how it continues into the afternoon, but kind of gradually and starting to see more breaks develop as we go from west to east. So this is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the best chance will be in the eastern part of the area. Notice how wind's pretty even now, even in the western and eastern part of the state, gusts 20, 25 miles per hour, so we'll call it breezy across the state. And notice how temperatures still coming down. So 2 o'clock this afternoon, 0 in Madison, still 15 in Kenosha, but look at that, -4 in Chippewa Falls, -4 in La Crosse, and breezy, so already a wind chill factor, but the winds are going to keep increasing. Okay, so here we are, homebound commute time, and it's really just looking like isolated snow showers at this point for most of us, maybe the exception around the Green Bay area. So flurries, isolated snow showers, you might get lucky for the homebound commute. It's looking better than the morning commute, but still got to mention the chance of snow and temperatures, yes, still coming down, and the best chance for flurries and isolated snow showers in the eastern part of the state. As far as the legitimate accumulation, as far as any accumulating snow, I think that's going to come to an end by 9 o'clock this evening. But then for the rest of the night and then through the day tomorrow, occasional flurries, and then what we're also going to be dealing with is blowing snow, because now look at winds still trying to go up. Now notice the shift. So for much of the day I was talking about the winds being a little bit stronger to the west versus the east. From here on out, winds are going to be stronger in the eastern part of the state than the western part of the state. But for the time being, 9 o'clock this evening, they'll still be pretty uniform. Gusts 25 to the west and around 30 miles per hour in the eastern part of the state. And look at these temperatures, below 0 in most locations, with the exception right along the lake. But though our temperatures aren't going to drop too much more during the overnight hours, they will a little bit. And winds are going up. By 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, we're looking at gusts 40 to 45 miles per hour across the state. And look at these temperatures. Everyone 0 or below, and most below. So when you're talking about these temperatures, these are the actual temperatures, and gusts 40 to 45 miles per hour, look what it's going to be feeling like 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. For most of us, it's going to be right around -30, the wind chill. So hopefully you can just stay in and not have to venture out. But if you do have to venture out early tomorrow morning, this is going to be the worst of it, absolutely layer up hats and gloves, because this is potentially dangerous cold if you're not prepared for it. When you're talking about wind chills around -30, frostbite can occur in just 20 minutes when it's this cold. So before we talk about the rest of Friday, let's talk about how much more snow we're going to see. And notice just a dusting. Rochester, Winona, La Crosse, Chippewa Falls. For the central part of the state, it looks like another inch and an inch and a half to go before it all comes to an end this evening. But for the eastern part of the state, Green Bay, Sheboygan, Racine, Kenosha, Milwaukee, looks like another 2 and 2.5 inches before it's all said and done. And again, I think all the accumulating snow coming to an end in the eastern part of the state around 9 o'clock this evening, and ending a little bit earlier in the central part of the state. So that's why those totals will be a little bit on the smaller side. But we've got to talk about Friday afternoon, because I talked about in the morning those gusts 40, 45 miles per hour, but Friday afternoon, we're looking at gusts peaking around 50 to 55 miles per hour. So western part of the state, probably gusts around 50, and then the eastern part of the state, 55 miles per hour. Very little Very little difference, but plan on gusts 50 to 55 miles per hour tomorrow afternoon, which will absolutely be blowing the snow on the ground around. And there still could occasionally be some legitimate flurries still coming down. But it's mostly, it will be almost impossible to tell if it's a real new snow coming down or just the blowing snow. It's just being picked up by the wind. But the bottom line is reduced visibility across the state because of the blowing snow. It's going to seem like it's still snowing. With these kind of wind gusts, also, we're talking about tree branches coming down, some power lines coming down, so isolated power outages. And by the way, Christmas decorations is your last warning. Make sure those are secure or bring them inside, otherwise they're going to go missing. And then finally, not just the wind and blowing snow, but the cold. Look at our high temperatures Friday afternoon. Our high temperatures, 0 in Madison, 3 Chippewa Falls, 3 Kenosha. But with that kind of wind, you know it's not going to be feeling that warm. So this is as warm as it's going to feel Friday afternoon. The wind chills Friday afternoon for most of us right around -20.